So once again, good morning to all of you. In the last class, we have seen the basic concepts of inheritance. Means how to implement the concept of inheritance in Java with the help of extends keyword. We can implement the feature of inheritance. Okay, and we have seen an important point like please try to create an object for bottommost derived class so that memory space will be created for all the classes from which location it is going to start its memory creation. It is going to start its memory creation for the topmost class, and it will create the next class for all, like that memory will be created. And what about execution is going to start from derived class to topmost class. Okay, fine. And then we have seen, if I don't want to give features from one class features to another class features, then I will go for making that particular feature as private. Okay, I mean, if I have a class something like C1, uh, and there is a class called C2, which is inheriting the features of C1, if I write like some feature called a variable, that feature is logically available in C2 class. If I don't want to make that availability, then I will go for making it as private, so that the private access modifier, if you use that, corresponding element will be used within the class itself directly. So it cannot be available over this in C2 class. Okay, fine. uh, Here, whatever the features that may be like any data members, or that may be like any methods, those are all the features are available logically in C2 also. If you are trying to override these logical methods, these logical thing, like that can be data members or methods, then it will give priority to what? Priority to local declared data members or methods. If locally declared data members or methods are not available, then you'll go for taking logical data members. Okay, but see, meaning that I can able to access the features of C1 to C2, but I cannot able to access the features of C2 to C1. It is not possible. Okay, here you may get some doubt if you are thinking, for each and every class we'll have a constructor. System defined default constructors are there. Okay, if here I have defined some kind of constructor C1 of something like int p, C1 of constructor I have defined some value. Now if I am going to inherit, then is the constructors are inherited? No. That is what I said during the explanation of constructors. Okay, see, uh, the data members and methods of base class are inherited to derived class, but constructors will not inherit to the derived class, meaning that constructors doesn't participate in inheritance. Important point, doesn't participate in inheritance. Why? Is there any specific reason? Yes. See here, what is the property of constructor? Property of constructor is the constructor name should be same as class name. The constructor name should be same as class name. Right? If it is allowing constructors, then what I have to make here? I have to write it as C1. I write it as C1 followed by some parameter. Can I call now this as a constructor? No, because It is violating the principle of naming principle. What is that naming principle? If I am calling this as a constructor, it should be same as a class name. Should be same as class name. But it is not same as class name. Then compiler will treat it as a normal method. Normal method. That's it. Normal method, and it will show an error. If it is showing an error, what void is like it is not returning. As it is not returning anything, you have to mention it as void. It will show. So constructors are not participating in the inheritance process. I hope it is clear for you. And also, it is already defined for each and every class of Java. There is one predefined superclass. I mean, predefined parent class. That class is object class, right? Java dot long dot object. Java dot long dot object, right? This Java dot long dot object is also responsible for what method? Finalize method. While explaining the concept of garbage collector, I have defined. And in the previous class, I mean in the last class, not in the today's in the previous class, while explaining the concept of string buffer and string classes, I have defined one method called equals method. And if you are using this equals method in string classes, it is comparing what? It is comparing content. If we are using this equals method in string buffer, it is comparing references. Why I said it has comparing references? Because string buffer doesn't override the method of equals method. Doesn't override the method of equals method. So that is the reason it is going to make it as reference. But string class is overriding the method of equals, meaning that equals is a method supported by whom? Object. Superclass. See, I will show. Java p space Java dot long dot 1 minute. Okay, see here. If I open, it's a superclass of all objects, all classes. For every class, the superclass is topmost superclass is object only. See, object is a constructor, and it has a method called equals method. See, this equals method, I said. I'm trying to show it in a single frame. Yes. See, this equals method is override by string class, but this equals method is not overridden by string buffer. I have shown there also, right? See, let's see string buffer. In string buffer, there is no class of equal. There is no method of equals method. Equals method are ledam. So meaning that it is not overriding. But if you see the method of the profile of class, there is a method called equals method. These are all constructors. Okay. See here. It is overriding which class? Object. It is overriding object of this object. Superclass object. So for each and every class, there exists one predefined object. That object is Java dot long dot object. See here I have showed also finalize method. Finalize method is called by whom? Finalize method is called by garbage collector method. Garbage collector is declared in which class? Garbage collector is declared in a system class. See. Yes, you have to remember everything. In system class, garbage collector is declared. See, in system class, garbage collector method is declared. This garbage collector internally will call which method? Internally, it will call finalize method whenever object is going to destroy. So this is what I have given in garbage collector video. Okay, so this I mean, this object class is responsible for to free the unused memory space, because it contains method called finalize method. Okay, fine. Okay, before going to move for further, let me explain first constants in Java. So, what do you mean by constant? Constant. It is a variable whose value cannot be changed. Whose value cannot be changed throughout the execution of the program. Then we can call it as a constant, right? In Java, we can define constants using a keyword called final. Final is a keyword which is used to make anything as constant. This final keyword I can use at various locations. I can use for a variable, or I can use at method level. I think I have defined already for method level, and we can use at class level also. We can use at variable level, we can use at method level, and we can use at class level. Okay, if you are using the final at variable level, like for example, I am making declaration of a variable. What? How we are going to declare a variable? I am going to declare int. I have declared, and I'll go for initialization directly. I'll go for initialization. This also I can make, right? Int variable declaration I can go for variable initialization. So when we go for variable declaration, I have defined. Yes. So if you make it as variable initialization, meaning that int a equal to, and if I want to make this a value as 2 throughout the program, then I will go for making it as final, meaning that it will act as a constant, meaning that throughout the execution of the program, the a, if you try to retrieve the a value, you are going to get the value as a. Okay, once you made an initialized variable as final, then we cannot perform any kind of modifications, like I am trying to update the value of a to 3, then you will get an error. I mean, any kind of assignments, or if you are trying to perform any kind of expressions like operations, a equal to a plus 1, then also will get an error. Okay, meaning that it is constant for all. That's it. Similarly, when you go for a declaration, if you make that declaration as final, then we can perform changes for the first time only. Like I can make it as a equal to 2, meaning that first time assignment is permitted. And if you try to perform once again a equal to 3, then now you will get an error, because already we made it as constant. Similarly, I cannot make use of any kind of expressions also. Okay, this is first time allowed. Can I write first time directly a equal to a plus 1? No, this is also not allowed. Meaning that over the at variable level, I cannot, once I made a variable as final, I cannot use expressions. I cannot use any kind of expressions. At declaration level, I can use first time assignment, whereas coming to initialization level, I cannot use assignment at the first time also. Okay, this is how you are going to use the final keyword at variable level. Okay, fine. Next, if you want to make use of final keyword at method level, you can use. See, you know how to declare a method, right? Method. Uh, so you know what is the purpose of method? Is it to perform some kind of operation? If this operation is common to all, then that implementation is not necessary to change every time. That implementation is not necessary to change every time. So if it is not necessary to change every time, I can make it as final so that no one can override that. No one can override that. Meaning that, see, for example, I'm writing some program for simple interest calculation. Simple interest calculation. What you required? You require something like simple interest equal to PTR by 100, right? You require P value, T value, and R value. So you require three parameters. I am taking those three: float P, float T, float three parameters. Then you are going to simply calculate that value. Some float simple interest equal to P into T into R by 100, and then I am going to return this simple interest. As it is a float, I can return this float value. This is a kind of method. This is a kind of method. See, guys, is this formula is changing? Is this formula is changing from location to location or person to person? No. This formula is common over the entire world. For the entire world. Now, if anybody wants to use the simple interest formula, is there any necessary to override them again? No need. I can use it directly wherever I require. I will just pass three parameters: simple interest of 10 comma 12 comma 13, some value. It can calculate and can provide result. It can provide result. So at that time, meaning that if this is a common method, then I'll go for making it as final. I'll go for making it as final. Meaning that once I made it as final, what is the use of means? We cannot override method. We cannot override that method. Meaning that if you want to make a method name should be only one time, then we can make use the keyword called final keyword. Okay, I hope you are understanding. Okay, now so this final keyword you can use at various locations, like for method. Next we can use at class level also. For example, see, I have a class A. And I have a method called some m method, which is void m. I'm going to print at method level. Then I have a class B, which is extending class A. It's extending class A. I want to write like void m only. Void m. This is from derived class, and this is from base class. Now in class C, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make some program driver public static void main string aux, and then I'm going to write what I said, create object for bottommost class so that you can access anyone. I'm going to write b small b new b. I have created constructor. Now what will happen with respect to this? I can call method m. Right? If I call method m, which method is going to call? DC or BC? First, it will go for B class. In this B class, it is going to check for whether M method is there or not. Yes, M method is there. Then it is going to produce the result as DC. For example, this M method is not there. Then it is going to produce the result as BC, because it will check in the current class. There is no there is no M method. Then you go for checking the super class. So you will get B. So it will get the answer as. Okay, fine. See, guys, here I have made final int a. Means, can I able to use the variable a here? No, it is not possible. Similarly, if I made to restrict a method to not inherit to the some other classes, then I will make this as final. See, that is not correct, ma. I want to make it clear one thing here. If I made final int a, meaning that for variable level, if you are making it as final, you cannot inherit to the Okay, okay, fine, fine. I made confusing with the private and final. Okay. These are all available here also. Available. If you made them as private, those are not available. If you have made them as final, those are available, but we cannot override that. We cannot override that. See, I will show an example for more I will make this as final void show. So this you can understood, right? I don't need to specifically mention. I am removing all these. I made as private int b equal to 6. Okay, fine. I'm removing everything. Okay. See, here now you will get an error. What is that error you will get? You will get an error. Show method is declared in the parent class, and you are trying to override that. You are trying to override that. If you are trying to override it, meaning that it produces an error because final keyword restricted. Meaning that to not to override, you can use. You will get an error. What is that error? Data display and some. First, let me remove this. Okay. First, I'm just making it as comments. See what happened here? Show in C2 cannot override show in C1. అంటే C1 లో ఉన్న షో మెథడ్ C2 లో ఓవర్రైడ్ కాదు అంటున్నారు. ఎందుకు? ఓవర్రైడ్ మెథడ్ ఈస్ ఫైనల్. Override method is final. So this way you can restrict to override a method in inheritance concept. But can we access? Yes, we can access. See, can we access? Yes, we can access. See, I will write here b dot show. I can get the result. Sorry. I can access a and b value from base class is 5, 6, meaning that I can access these values. I mean, those values can be inherited here, but not overridden if you make them as final. Make them as final. So this way I can use the final at method level. Next, we'll go for the final at class level. Third way, final at class level. See, guys, sometimes what our requirement is whatever the base class features are there. I don't want to inherit all those base class features to the derived classes. Then I'll go for defining the class name as final. Final class A and some blah blah blah. And if I'm trying to implement class B extends class A, then automatically you will get an error. You will get an error like illegal thing. Meaning that if you don't want to give the features of base class into derived class, then I have to declare that class as final. See, I will show it. I'll make it as final. If I try to execute, you will get an error. First run. See what happened? Cannot inherit from final C1. C1 extends C2 is getting an error. Okay, now. So if you want, if you don't like, if you want to access, if you want to restrict, single feature or a group of features, then we can go for made it as private. We made it as private. Okay, now if I don't want to like if I want to if I don't want to override the features of base class, then I will go for define that base class features as final. Base class features as final. See, if I don't want to access, if I want to provide restriction to over the entire class, then that class I will restrict with the keyword final keyword. Restrict with the keyword final keyword, so that that entire class features are not inherit to the next class. Meaning that if I want to make uh, a class made a class one not should not participate in inheritance concept, then I will simply made it as final. That's it. So that it is not participated in inheritance concept. Okay. So this is how we can use to conclude in the final method. Once I made uh, once I made a method as final, it is not overridden. It is not overridden. Then, as it is not overridden, is there any confusion for the compiler? There is no confusion for the compiler. If it is going to be overridden, compiler will have to check for whether there exists a physically m method is declared or not. If here they didn't declare, then you have to call for base class. Am I getting ma? చూడండి ఇక్కడ నేను ఇక్కడ b డాట్ m అని రాశాను ఫర్ ద b క్లాస్. ఇప్పుడు b డాట్ m అని రాసినప్పుడు ఫస్ట్ ఇట్ వాంట్ టు చెక్ ఫర్ వెదర్ ద మెథడ్ ఈస్ ఇంప్లిమెంటెడ్ ఇన్ b క్లాస్ ఆర్ నాట్. ఇట్ హ్యాస్ టు చెక్. If it is not declared, then it has to go for a class. Meaning that at what time it is going to check, at what time it is going to decide. It is going to decide at runtime. It is going to decide at runtime. That process will call it as late binding. So late binding will happen at what time? If it didn't declared a method as final, then it may happen to be late binding. If a method to be declared as final, then JVM will declare JVM will resolve this at compile time directly. This is what we call it as early binding. Meaning that if a method is identified, meaning that if a method, the method which it wants to execute is identified at the compile time, we can call it as early binding. If the compiler also don't know which method is executing until it runs, then we'll call it as late binding. Guys, okay, see, confuse రాకుండా చెప్తాను చూడండి. దిస్ ఇస్ ఎ మెథడ్ అమ్మా. ఇప్పుడు నేను ఏం చేస్తున్నాను, నేనేమి ఇక్కడ రాయలేదు మెథడ్, బట్ right, these features are logically available. Now if I am calling b.m, then what will happen? It will comes to here, and it will check for is there any method, m method is there or not. No, then it will go for class A. Then it is going to check for is there any m method or not. Yes, then it is going to print bc. This is all what done at what time? Runtime. During runtime only it can check for movements, right? Then we call it as late binding. Suppose for example there is a method which is final p method, now I am calling b.p method. What is the meaning of making it as a final? It is not overriding. As it is not overriding, compiler will simply freely think that yeah, programmer is not overriding this p method, so that I can able to directly when somebody asks, I can able to directly print that answer. So during the compilation itself, it will bind. That is what we call it as early binding. Okay, okay. So this point is also important here. Okay, next we will see various types of relationships which are present in Java. various types of relationships in Java, not in real life. Okay, fine. Various types of relations means why we are discussing here. See, in inheritance, there is a class called C1. There is a class called C2. What kind of relation? This is a kind of a parent-child relationship. Parent-child relationship. So, in this topic, in these types of relations of Java, what we are going to say that how the features of one class is deriving to another class, that we define in the concept of types of relationships. Meaning that how the features of one class is inherited to another class, that we are going to define to through various types of relationships. One kind of relationship is a relationship. Second one, has a relationship. Third one, uses a relationship. Use a relationship. Guys, ఎక్కడన్నా మీరు ఈజీ అని చెప్పి విన్నారా? I said at the starting of the class. See, every student is a person. Every student is a person. అసలు ఈ వర్డ్ ఎలా వచ్చింది? Every student is a person, or every male is a human. Every male is a human. Every male is a human, but every human need not be a male. Similarly, every female is a human. Every female is a human, but every human need not be a female. He can be a male also. Okay. So where I did it is in the concept of inheritance. So in the concept of inheritance, if you are applying the concept of inheritance, we will get a relationship called easier relationship. Meaning that in the easier relationship, one class like C1 is inheriting the features, from another class to the concept of inheritance. Then we can call that relationship is called as easier relationship. How we are getting? See, let me take class C1. Okay, if I write like this, class C2, class C1 extends C2, C2. So C2 is, C1 is extending the features of C2. Then this kind of relation we call it as easier relation. Easier relation, right? Whenever we are applying the concept of inheritance, is the features of C2 are logically created in C1 or physically created in C1. These are all logically created. So meaning that these are all available logically in the context of C1. Logically in C1. So meaning that, what about memory? Is memory is created? No. The memory will be like logical memory management only done. Okay, fine. Now I will write one statement here. Final class A, class B extends A. What is the relation between B and A classes? B and A classes? Is a relationship exist? No, because final classes never participate in inheritance. So the important point is here, final class of Java never participate in inheritance. So for final classes doesn't have easier relationship. Okay, fine. So this is the one way we can reuse. This is the one way we can reuse the code. Through the concept of inheritance, we can reuse the code. We can use, like, if you are not using the concept of inheritance, but if you want to make reuse of some part of some code, then we can also go for has a relationship. So in this relationship, what we are going to do is what we are going to do is object of one class is created inside another class, is created inside another class, like sim class a class a class b, a equal to new a equal to new a. Now see, in the inheritance concept, see, I will write the same thing here. Class a, class a, class b extends a, extends a. Can I able to access the features of a here or not? Yes, I can able to access. Similarly, I can go for this process without using the concept of inheritance. Without using the concept of inheritance, I am using these features here. How can I access? By creating an object. By creating an object. Once I create an object, is memory created or not? Yes, memory will be created. Meaning that in a has a relationship, memory will be created physically. Memory will be created physically. So when you are getting the has a relationship, object of one class is created inside another class. Will get has a relationship. So now these features I can able to access with respect to object a dot something like int g, int g, a dot g I can print. Like this I can able to access, meaning that I can able to reuse here or not. Yes, I can able to reuse. Here also I can able to reuse. So this is a kind of relationship. This is also kind of relation, but this relation is a relation. This relation is has a relation. I mean, if you write like this, class A, class B. Inside this class B, I am going to define the object for class A. Then the relation between this class A and class B is has a relation. So in has a relationship, physically memory will be created. So there is one advantage of has a relationship. The advantage is it can eliminate diamond problem. It can eliminate diamond problem. So what is that diamond problem? I said right. See, this is a kind of diamond. This is a kind of diamond. So in that a portion, what we can take a portion. If you take this one, multiple inheritance is not supported. Not supported. This multiple inheritance is not supported because if it contains a variable a, if it contains a variable a, it contains a variable a, it contains a variable a, then compiler will get an ambiguity whether I want to change, this a or this a, this a or this a. So this is the problem in inheritance. But if you implement it through the concept of has a relationship, then we can overcome that. See, that is all. That is diamond problem. See how you are going to overcome diamond problem means. See, there is a class C1, there is a class C2. I'm trying to override in C3. Here there is a variable a. Here also there is a variable a. If I am trying to print a, the compiler will get an ambiguity whether I want to print this a or this a. But this you can overcome it through the concept of has a relationship. What you are going to do in has a relationship? I am going to create class C1, class C1. I am going to create a class C2, class C2. So in this class C1, I have a variable a equal to 2. In this C2, I have a variable a equal to 3, a equal to 3. Now I want to print that. I want to print in another class, right? Yes. So first let me go for in inheritance concept. Class A, sorry, class C1 int a, class C2 int a equal to 3, a equal to 2. Now what I am doing, I am going to make class C which is extending C1 comma C2. Here itself compiler will produce an error. So it is not possible, but it is possible through the concept of hazard relationship. See how can do. So in hazard relationship, what we are going to do? In hazard relationship, we are going to create object of one class inside the other class. See, I am going to create class C. Assume that this is C3. I'm going to create class C3. In the P object is P, new C1, next C2, Q, new C2, right? So with the help of this P, I can able to access this A. With the help of this Q, I can able to access this A. Then if I want to print explicitly this A, I can able to print A. If I want to explicitly print this A, I can able to print A. If I want to get C1 A, then I will write like P dot A. If I want to get C2 A, I can write like P dot, sorry. I can write like Q dot A. Like this, we can overcome this diamond problem through the concept of has a relationship. So diamond problem is simple nothing but it eliminates the problem of multiple inheritance concept. Multiple inheritance. Okay. So next kind of relationship, third one, uses a relationship. So in this relation, what we are going to do is, see, I will write class C1, class C1. I'm going to make class C2. I'm going to write one method, which is display method. In this display method, I will create object of this one, C1O1 equal to new C1. No, equal to new C1. I mean, what is meant by user relationship? In this user relationship, what we can say, a method of one class is using the object of another class. See, a method of one class is using object of another class. Then if you want to go for this kind of feature, then you'll go for user relationship. What is the problem? What is the requirement here? If you want to use this object inside this method, then I'll go for creating here itself. Meaning that this is also kind of reusability or not. This is also reusability. This is also kind of relationship. Wherever you are reusing, we can say that it is relationship only. Here we are performing inheritance. It is a relationship. Here you are using has a relationship, meaning that I am reusing these objects here. So this is a kind of relationship. This here also I am reusing the attributes of C1, where inside the method of one class. So this is also reusability. So this relationship we can call it as a user relationship. So is memory is created or not? Here also memory created physically. Physically memory created. Okay, fine. So I would like to give some real-time examples for all these kind of relationship. See, I will conclude here. So in relationships, first one is easy relationship. Easy relationship when you are going to get when you see the concept of inheritance. When you see the concept of inheritance, you will observe easy relationship. Okay. So in Java programming, I said already, in Java programming, for each and every class, there is a predefined superclass called object. So automatically what will happen? What are the features that are there in the object class? Those are all will be inherited. So here they are applying the concept of easier relationship. So the default relationship of Java is easy relationship. Take out second one, has a relationship. See guys, has a relationship. I said once upon a time I am defining the concept of how to display the output. System dot out dot println method. What I said, there is a class called print stream class. Print stream class. In this print stream class, they have defined some methods called println methods are there, and there is one class called system class. In this class, they have defined and they have created object for the print stream class. Print stream out equal to new print stream అని చెప్పానా? Yes, and they made it as static. So what you can observe here, the object of one class is created inside another class, then we can call it as has a relationship. This is a real-time example for has a relationship. And if I go for uses a relationship, in uses a relationship, see what you are doing everywhere. See what you are doing here. In one class, in one method of one class, I am creating object of what? Object of another class. This itself we call it as uses a relationship. Uses a relationship. So what is the example for user relationship? Normal in Java, execution class comes under user relationship. Okay, so this is what about various types of relationship in Java. Okay, I hope you understood everything. Okay, this is for today's class.